What is up, guys? Eric here from BVM Productions, here with a 2:30 a.m. video. Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev 2 is happening, and I wanted to do a proper film study on this. And then I also checked up on a few of my, I'll say it like this, advanced boxing channels that I know of, some of my hidden gems. Just to be sure I saw everything as I needed. Now, there's probably a lot that I missed because really it's 2 a.m. I'm tired. I don't really want to sit here for hours and hours and hours and just watch film study for hours and hours. Like, there's many videos where I'm going to bitch about it, guys, because there's more to life than sitting around and doing film study for fights on fighters who probably don't care about you, yada yada yada. But I'm here to give my analysis and then my prediction on this fight. Now, the reason why you guys see me react that way is because this is quite a hard fight to predict. Like, really, this is worse than some of the MMA fights in recent memory, like to a wide degree. And I love boxing as well, so yeah, let me get into it. So I have a list on the big screen on my computer here. The laptop is on this side with the fight actually open. I can watch in real time if I need to, but I'm not going to. I watched the fight, and this is my second viewing. Then I double checked that my work was accurate, and that's what I like. Key tip in life: always have mentors, smarter people than you. Anyway, guys, so okay, in the first fight, I need to go over that to give you guys a reason for why I'm picking who I'm picking. So, in the first fight, Bivol controlled the distance well in the first fight using the lead probe and then the lead jab, and also the setups for the lead jab. He tasted Artur Beterbiev's reactions. Now, he did this versus Canelo as well and got a lot more success than versus Artur, but Artur is a different fighter. That's actually why it seems like he's a lot more mature in some ways in boxing than Canelo. If Canelo cleaned up these few parts, wow. But anyway, although his size would still catch up to him, like even if he went to a light heavy again and stuff. But yeah, the problem with Bivol's probes and jabs and his setup for his jabs, where he caught, well, his feints, where he caught Artur with, he stopped doing it. He completely stopped, and you guys can go look up the punch stats. They drop off how many shots he was throwing, well, how many jabs, how many probes, etc. he was throwing. It drops off gradually every round, and that is a big problem, because when you have a marauder that's coming for you, you need to essentially be able to get them off of you. Now, a lot of people misunderstand this and think that's when you need to hit them so hard that they back off or they get hurt and you push them back that way. That is not the only way you can get a marauder off of you. I always use the analogy of your jab is like a spear. Now, you are like a hybrid fighter in the old ages, and you have a spear on this side, and then you have short sword in your right hand with a shield on your arm at all times that is mobile. That means your spear stabs into your opponent or your target or your enemy at a distance. It's a lot longer than your sword. And your sword is short, but it has a lot more attack damage. So you stab and you attack, but you need to set them up because the opponent has the same thing. And if you use the spear correctly, you keep any enemy, any opponent off of you. You will keep them always off of you, or while they're moving in, they won't be in range to land their sword strike, because they will hit your spear halfway through, or they will just log jam. It will just log jam, and one of the two will get pushed back. This actually happened a few times where Artur threw his right hand a certain way, and it landed on the forearm of Bivol, and it jammed it like this, but Bivol was jamming the right shot, so it was not landing. So Bivol dropped this very early in the fight, And he also dropped his movement. He was moving very lightly on his feet using lateral motion quite well. And he stopped, completely stopped. Now I'll explain later what happened. So Artur later in the fight stood his ground when Bivol threw it at him and then started trading with him. And he was winning the trade wars because of the power and his shot selection, etc. He was also going to the body. Artur also timed when Bivol would do a slight back step. So Bivol would do this. He stands, and then he would do this. And when that small movement of just that small movement, he did it repeatedly in the first 3 rounds where Artur saw it. These guys are so cerebral that you can just be jiving in front of somebody and then you just do this and their brains record it. And then they will slowly just see, okay, let me see, can I throw this strike? Wham! Okay, it landed. Cool. Can I throw this one? All right, no, that one didn't land when he was doing that even. And then the third time he tries to land the overhand or the straight right. Straight right, bam. It doesn't land. If it lands, they will record it. If they don't, they will be like, okay, cool, noted. I can't land that strike there. But then the funny part is that's when they start playing with setups. These guys are so good that even if you think you blocked it as an opponent of theirs, they will find a way to get around it. You need to have A to Z of defense and retaliation, because boxing is not just about who's defending the most. Think Floyd Mayweather, just for example. It is about who can attack, who can force openings after being defensive, meaning the shots miss and then I attack because my opponent is open. And Artur started setting up Bivol, and also he started setting him up with this swivel uppercut or up jab. It's more than like an up jab. He started throwing the swivel up jab, shot on the guard with the right hand on the guard, and then also he started going up jab, shot to the body, because he started forcing Bivol to react, or he timed him when he was doing that. And the problem is, with that slight back step, Bivol was off balance and open to get hit, especially because he keeps his hands like this. So he drops his hands when he does that slight step back. You see there's a big opening, even for gloves, that's a wide opening that can still land. And Artur noted it early, and then he started using it. On top of that, some of the mistakes, I just want to check, here's where the body shots, I already mentioned that. Some of the mistakes Bivol made was with his footwork. And when I was watching this, I was like, I don't remember him doing these footwork mistakes so much. But then I remembered, Bivol is not a fighter who has ever fought a guy capable, I'm saying this like that because people will moan and be like, oh, but he was pressured back before. He wasn't pressured like this. He was never been forced to go back. He was never been forced to fight on the back foot. He's not a fighter who's used to that. A lot of guys, even in MMA, it happens a lot, where a guy that's used to coming forward is not used to being the nail. He's not used to going backwards and fighting off the back foot. It's very hard. It's the hardest thing to do in boxing, MMA, any fighting sport. Fighting backwards. Going backwards, sorry. That's, by the way, why Floyd Mayweather is, again, very good. He has a lot of cardio. He has a lot of tricks, etc. And he can do it going backwards, forwards, etc. Very good. However, most guys who are used to being the hammer is not used to being the nail, or being the nail for a set time period, which comes into another thing that Bivol made, was an issue. So while Bivol was still fighting well in the first few rounds, he was moving quite well. By moving laterally, he was using his footwork correctly, although it wasn't 100% perfect, but none of the best fighters in boxing are absolutely perfect. However, he stopped using his footwork. He stopped moving. He stopped being the mover. In MMA, you can think about Chito Vera versus Sean O'Malley the second time. At first, Sean O'Malley was really good. He was a very good matador. And then later when he got his confidence, he was standing his ground a bit more. However, the same thing was happening here with Bivol. He was being the matador, landing shots, etc., while moving. And even going backwards, and then he turned it around on Artur a lot. He swapped them around on the ring ropes, and later on he couldn't achieve this because he stopped moving that way in total, like completely, and then also didn't control the distance. So, okay, what else did Artur do? Yeah, the body shots, and he was setting them up via more feints, picking up on the footwork mistakes of Bivol. If he can do these few adjustments, Artur can win. Let me say it like this. If Artur can instantly control the distance and instantly force these mistakes out on Bivol, then he can more convincingly win. However, Bivol can, well, later in the first fight, he started using clinches and smothering a little bit better, but he also abandoned this again. It's the same thing with the probes. Everything that worked, he didn't fully keep using. Now, I have a theory on why he didn't use the movement and the jabs, the probes, etc. constantly. I have a theory on that, which I'll get to now. However, with the clinching, I think his head didn't really think about it too much. Bivol had some success clinch smothering Artur. So he will win if he can use this to his advantage. Think of Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko. He was very good at using his clinching to set up strikes and then also just to keep the fight where he wants it. Also, you can use clinching to maneuver your opponent. So, I don't remember which fight was it in MMA. There was one fight where the opponent kept trying to get a takedown, and the person just defended, clinched, and turned them to the cage. So every time this person tried to take down this opponent, he turned him towards the cage. So the aggressor was being pushed against the wall, and he had space to defend the takedowns. That meant the takedowns weren't there. Very smart in this context. And funny enough, you see this more with clinches in boxing, which kind of is interesting. People don't pick up on this and don't use this that much in MMA. However, it's much easier said than done. But if Bivol uses, again, let me tell you guys like this. I'm picking Bivol again. Last time I picked wrong because, but a lot of people agree that it can be argued for both. It was a 50-50 fight. And this is a 50-50 prediction. That means regardless of who you pick, you're picking based on 50-50 chance. It's really that close that Artur can do two things. He can pick up on go to the body and pick up on the feints, the footwork mistakes and body shots. Boom, he can convincingly win there. Bivol, then again, can use clinch smothering, and the best option, three options. You see, this is why I'm picking Bivol. He has three options. Artur has two that I picked up. And then also I watched some of the gurus. I'll tell you guys straight, these guys are different level. Like, I'm way down here, they're up there. With how good they are with film study, for boxing specifically. They are crazy. But I watched the videos just to confirm what I saw, and I was very happy that I passed the test. But the point is, Bivol can use his footwork, he can move around the ring using his lateral motion better. He can clinch smother Artur Beterbiev and also use it to maneuver him against the ropes. Because again, this is the same situation, just swapped. The hunter will be hunted if he is pushed against the ropes the whole time. He didn't look comfortable when Bivol did get him against the ropes. The only time he was comfortable is when he started throwing out of there and he landed heavy shots, because obviously Artur hits like a train. Well, not a truck, a train. And if he can keep him on the ropes, then he doesn't have the option of moving anywhere. He doesn't have the option really to get out. Bivol just shouldn't retreat in straight lines. He should retreat on angles to again, or just clinch with him. Again, retreat, move, then when his opponent strikes, clinch, get the clinch, and then move him back against the ropes, start for throwing. Especially on the breaks. If he clinch smothers, moves Artur Beterbiev, and then attacks upon the breaks. When the separation happens, if he can close distance and start throwing, then he has a lot more chance, well, a better chance at winning convincingly. And then on top, the last thing, the biggest thing that he needs to do is keep the jab constantly moving, probes, jabs, and feints. Because Artur did bite on a lot of his feints. He really did. If he can do those three things together, because to me that's just lead hand work. If he uses his lead hand a little bit more intelligently, while moving a lot better, and then using the clinch to maneuver and then also land strikes, then he convincingly wins. That's 3 versus 2. I don't know what else Artur can do unless he controls the distance better. However, he has a bad habit of leaping in with his shots, even his jab. That means it's very unlikely, if you understand what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm picking Bivol. Upon this, going over this, I'm picking Bivol. However, this is a 50-50 fight. It's a coin flip. So I wouldn't be shocked if Artur wins. Now, the reason why Bivol in the first fight didn't move so much and use at least the distance, at least the probing and the distance, is because of his cardio. Anybody, and I challenge you guys, if you guys don't agree, go train, like grab gloves, put gloves on, mouth guard, everything, and then focus on shadow boxing while going backwards, like running essentially backwards. Try striking from there as well. You will see 3 rounds in, if you guys even have the cardio, 3 rounds in of 3 minutes of a lot of output, because you have to imagine in your head you have Artur Beterbiev in front of you, a monster that hits very hard, that can take punches very well, and can cut off the ring. That means if you go left, he cuts you off. He's already here, and he's already trying to throw shots at your flipping head and then your body. Then if you move right, he cuts you off. He stops you in your tracks. You have to move back again and start throwing again. Please, try it. You will see how quickly you gas. It's the hardest part of boxing. And then if you can do this in a secluded space, you will realize how bad it is, how claustrophobic you feel. It's even worse then, because all that guy is going to do is, you move this way, he times you. He throws the right hand, you move to his right, well, to his left. Boom. He just steps over, throws the left hand, and he lands that hook right past your guard, on the ear, or right here on the jaw, and you fall. Or you just get pushed back this direction. You see, Artur Beterbiev is that guy that's in your face, doing that all the time. So go and test this. If you guys do not believe me, try it. And I'm dead sure 3 rounds is more than enough. If you are very fit, try 5. And then think in your head, oh damn, this guy had to do this for 12, while being damaged by these punches. Much worse than he was damaged versus Canelo Alvarez, another guy that literally just sleeps people. So, because of this, I think Bivol's energy got sapped, like in that first 3 rounds. Because another thing that happens when your body is trained a certain way is it gets used to being trained a certain way. So that's its homeostasis. Meaning, if you switch it up, your body freaks out. Your body is not used to this at all, so it doesn't like it. It hates it, meaning you get an adverse, severe reaction. Think about it like this. Chilies, hot, spicy stuff. If you don't eat it a lot, your body is not tolerant to it. Your body's homeostasis is, I don't eat spicy stuff. But then you get a ghost pepper, and you put it on your tongue, or you eat half of it, of a pepper, which I would not advise. Your body freaks the fuck out. This is the same situation, especially your cardio system. Your cardio system has different variants of energy systems that it uses. If you suddenly use a different one, you will gas completely. And that's what started happening with Bivol. And that's when he started just standing in front of Artur, kind of just wading into range and stuff, and just not controlling it correctly. And I think he knew in his head, if I started probing and jabbing, I can do this a bit more. However, he just couldn't. He knew, I'm going to gas and then I'll get knocked out. You see, it's a double-edged sword. So it's either you trust in your raw skill, where you're going to react and throw, or you just pepper this guy and you hope for the best. However, I think another part of this is if you don't hit hard, you're not getting Artur Beterbiev off of you, which means it's even worse. It won't work. That's why he was like, nah, I'm just not going to throw. And in the end, because of how it looked, because he was seemingly being stalked the whole time, he lost. And to me, that is kind of a shame in a way, because he did land the cleaner shots most of the fight. However, some judges just favor damage more. Some judges favor more output more. And the fight, as it went on, Artur just grew into it a bit more. So I really think if Bivol's camp do these adjustments, he wins. If they don't, he just loses again. So that's where the 50-50 part comes in. However, I'm leaning towards Bivol. Let's say it like this, 60-40. So 60-40, whatever, pie chart, imagine that. But yeah, guys, I'm going to say good night and morning at the same time. And let's see how this fight turns out in the end. Cheers.